One way to make your reports more readable is by grouping like categories. I'll give you an example. Here I have some orders that have different ship methods. So this column is UPS ground, this one is FedEx 2-day. But overall, it's kind of hard to see what's going on here. But if you group these subcategories into larger categories, all of a sudden, it's a lot easier for the user to see what's going on. I'm a stay, and this is overanalyzing with a stay. Today, I want to show you two methods that I use to group my data. Okay guys, so the first method for grouping that I want to show you is this DAX formula. And what it is basically an if statement. We're also using a contains string function and an or to group our items. So let's see how we do it. I'm going to delete this. So let's go to new column. We're going to name it. And then we're going to start our if statement, tab over. Now I'm going to look for this ship in the ship via column. Ship via. Okay. But what I want to do is I actually want to look for a string of text within that column. So I'm going to use the contains string formula. So I'm looking in the ship via. What I'm looking for is I'm going to look for ground as a statement. If the formula finds ground, then I want them to return. I want it to return. What is Power BI? Standard. And otherwise, I want to see expedited. Okay. So looking through the results here, if I sort ascending, okay, so it's kind of group stuff. Oh, but look, first class, USPS first class mail, that I know is also kind of a standard shipping. So I want to add more to this formula. So let's go back here and we're going to do an or statement in here also. I'm going to copy this over. I'm going to space, I'll do these upright bars. That is the or symbol in DAX. I'm going to repaste what I had. So I'm looking for another string, but I'm going to change the string that I'm looking for this time. I want to look for ground, but I also want to look for first. So if you see first, or if you see ground, then return standard, otherwise expedited. Let's see what it does. So in standard, we have UPS ground, FedEx ground, and USPS first class mail. Cool. So what we saw is that if you have fairly simple subcategories, grouping them into larger categories is not too bad using an if statement. And here we are using the upright bars as an or. If you wanted to, you could use a double ampersand, and that would represent an and if you're familiar with doing that in Excel. So I'm going to undo that though. What do we do if we have a lot of subcategories to the point where making this kind of a if statement is prohibitive? That takes me to my second example, and that's by using a joined table. So I'll give you an example where this is important. If you're working with states, to try and make an if statement that would contain all the states would be easy to make a mistake, easy to forget a state. So it's better to pull in a table and join it. And I can show you that. So here I've created a table of state abbreviations and regions that they should be assigned to. You can easily pull this in by either grabbing an Excel workbook with this table or doing an enter data. Something this size, you could paste it in. It's pretty easy to do it that way. Once you have the table in Power BI, you'll want to go over to this model view and make sure that you just connect it to your fact table. So right here, the connection is on the state abbreviation. So state is going to state. It is a one-to-many cardinality, and the cross-filter direction should be single. That's great. So I'm going to click Save. And now I have this visual is pulling in the state and the number of listings from my farmer's market table, and this table is pulling in from the state and region table. But when I click on the Midwest, all of a sudden I can see my grouping of Midwest states. If I click on the Southwest, same thing. All right, that's it. There's definitely more than two ways to group subcategories in Power BI, but these two that I like to use are some of the simplest, and it'll help you get started. You can either use a DAX formula using an if statement, or you can use helper tables that are joined to your main table as a really easy way to get started with grouping. If you like this content, please feel free to like and subscribe. And if you want to see other content like this, let me know in the comments below so that I know what kind of topics you're interested in for future videos. All right, thanks.